Let me update our description. Today we have
You're about to get a look at the real SJVC, where you can.
I don't know what they're talking about, but I don't care. What's up,
Selling
everybody?
physical products is not the best way of making money on Amazon in 2021. Now, yes, that model does work, but my twin
5:14 p.m. here on the West Coast, Northern California, Stockton, California to be exact, baby. We are almost 1 hour past 4:20 here on the West Coast, Northern California, Stockton, California to be exact, baby. Y'all, my name is Cherry Franklin. This is the Cherry Franklin Show. Welcome if you have not been here before. This is a news, music update / smoke session podcast. Y'all, we get on here every day and we talk about so many things. But first and foremost, before we get started, I do want to reiterate the fact of why we come on here every single day. Because I don't give a fuck about podcasting. I just want y'all to listen to my songs and my friends' songs, and support their businesses. But aside from that, we get on here every day to tell y'all to please do what you can, where you can, when you can. Please visit change.org and vote.org. Change.org to sign the petition for the 4th stimulus check in the amount of $2,000 recurring monthly stimulus payments. Y'all, that petition can be found on change.org. That petition is nearing 3 million signatures. Also on change.org are petitions for the justice for the say their names hashtags. Justice for George Floyd, justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Vanessa Gillen, justice for Elijah McClain, justice for Ma'Khia Bryant, and justice for Adam Toledo. Y'all, please make sure you do what you can, where you can, when you can, that these victims who are now dead due to police brutality do find justice and rectify the situation or the problem that caused them to lose their life in a nonviolent, unarmed detention by the police. Vote.org, y'all. Vote.org is for voting for community programs, public housing, public transportation, after school programs, social distance learning, educational programs and free school lunches, free healthcare clinics and Planned Parenthoods. Y'all, politicians running for office, legalizing businesses and the amount of business licenses available in your city or county, and propositions being written into law, bills, and being voted on, like Prop 22, Prop 10, Prop 17, all of that. Y'all can research more about what you can vote on and when is your next voting day at vote.org in your city and state. Y'all check it out. Please make sure you make a difference. There are so many fallen activists and civil rights and economists and social rights progressives that have been killed, been working their whole life, imprisoned, arrested, protesters, okay, that do all of these things so that we can have a voice and use our voice to structure the laws in this country to protect the people and our well-being. So y'all, please don't sleep on your opportunities and do make a difference where you can, when you can. This is change.org and vote.org. Y'all, also, you do not need to donate to be able to sign things or register to vote or to vote on things. You should not ever have to pay money, because these are surveys that the government conducts to the American people to give us a chance to vote on things and use our voice. Multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. Okay. Let me see. Solid with orange. Here. This also smell very sour and very berry. So this dude over here, I just told this dude, like, bro, we're doing a news update podcast right here. Like, I'm not doing all of that. Like, I'm not doing none of that. We're having a conversation. If you're not responding to words coming out of my mouth, you got to get the fuck out my podcast. Like, bro, this is for networking and promotion. This is not for jokes or for people to try to establish a personal relationship with me or have personal conversations. There are times in the show where I open up and ask y'all if y'all have something to say. But overall, this is a news update that I do every day between 4 and 6. There's no premiums allowed. There's no guest callers unless you're going to rap or talk about the news. There's no callers allowed to just ask me how am I doing and what am I doing today and how's my job's going and things like that. Like, that's not what we do here. Between the hours of 4 and 6, we come here. We come to Facebook, YouTube, Tango, Tag, sometimes Instagram, OnlyFans, Ustream, whatever these broadcasting platforms are for social media to raise awareness and cross network and promote our business associates and other artists and creators. We come on here to network. We don't come on here to have personal conversations. The things we talk about here are podcast topics. We talk about the news. We talk about music. We talk about the West Coast. We talk about the government. We talk about the economy. Okay. We talk about weed. Which reminds me, before we go any further, I told y'all about change.org and vote.org. So, well, we're about to get ready to check out the 4 stimulus check updates. There's 2 of them we're gonna watch. One is Kevin Gates, and the other one is It's Jimmy. We want to know what they're trying to put into the stimulus package. Y'all, they've raised the debt ceiling for the country, and put together a package with 3.4, almost $3.5 trillion in this package. And this package does not include a one-time stimulus check payment to go to head of households or working adults here in this country. Now, if you're planning on sustaining the economy or boosting the economy, giving out money for people who are not going to put money back into the economy, okay? Yeah, anyway, dude, get the fuck out of my podcast, please. Anyway, the working class, the working adults, the taxpayers that earn an income and file taxes, we pay taxes when we earn an income and we pay taxes when we purchase goods or services in this country. You cannot increase the debt and gather so much money and then not include funding for the American taxpayers. Kids do not pay taxes. Their parents do. SSI recipients receive their income from the government. They don't have to make it to a job and successfully work the job and make it back home every day. I do, honey. I have to bust my ass. I have to pay my rent. I have to pay my transportation. Then I have to pay whatever fuck bills y'all give me. Then I have to invest into a future, a degree, a career, a side hustle, something else that is going to provide income in case y'all shut my job down again. In case my job cuts my hours and it don't have nothing to do with the government or the quarantine. They just have another employee who needs my hours. You cannot have a $3.5 trillion package that increases the debt of this country and then choose and opt to not fund the American head of households and taxpayers. You just can't do that, honey. That's highway robbery. You're asking me to pay you money to pay somebody else. And I understand y'all been taxing us for Medicare and welfare and food stamps and state taxes and federal taxes out of every paycheck since I started working. I have been paying since I was 14 years old. I have been paying out of my check money into programs and benefits that I will not be able to use. I'm now 33 years old. That's 19 years. I've been paying state and federal taxes. Not 1, not 2, not 5, not 10. 19, almost 20 years. In 6 more years, if I would have stayed with one company, I would be ready to retire for the rest of my life. Supposedly, how corporations and businesses and jobs were set up before you could grow to management and CEO and administrative positions. Now it just makes more sense to have the person who's good at that job do that job. So without further ado, y'all, we're going to jump right into the stimulus check. Y'all make sure you let me know what is you smoking, what flavors are popular in your area, what is brand spanking new, and what is the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. We will be medicating with the GMO strain, which is a pure indica. We're looking at 22.5% THC, 23, almost 24% cannabinoids, active live cannabinoids in this flower. And the CBD concentrated register is at 0.15%. What we have here, packaged by Ladybug Farms, Old Pal Indica. This is a crazy looking logo on this. I didn't see none of this logo or none of this shit when I ordered this. I ordered my weed online this time, and I normally never do that. But this is some crazy looking shit right here. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into the 4th stimulus check update. We only have about half an hour left. I'm only going to do 2 videos, Facebook and YouTube, and then we shall see how the background lives go and how much time I have left to get to work.
Here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the 4th stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news you need to know about, including money, investing, the stock market, pretty much everything you need to know about on a daily basis. We have a lot going on here today, actually multiple different announcements. First, we're going to start with a major announcement from the Texas governor that I'm sure President Biden is not going to like. Listen in.
Let's start this morning with the latest COVID news. One of the country's largest states is now fighting back against vaccine mandates.
Overnight, Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a ban on vaccine mandates in the Lone Star State. His executive order prohibits any entity, even private businesses, from imposing vaccine requirements on employees or customers. Abbott says he's responding to the Biden administration's vaccine requirement, which he calls federal overreach. The White House's mandate requires businesses with more than 100 employees to make sure their workforces are vaccinated or tested regularly. Daily vaccinations have been ticking up in recent weeks as more companies, states, and cities issue mandates. More than 56% of the U.S. is now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. As more people get vaccinated, we're seeing the number of COVID cases go down. An average of 70,000 Americans are testing positive each day right now. Compare that with 2 weeks ago, more than 109,000 cases were reported daily.
So Texas governor bans vaccine mandates from any entity.
Y'all, I did not pay none of my bills that have to do with the podcast. Planet Fitness and all the podcast bills. Everything else, though, is paid as of today mostly. Like my phone bill, my rent, shit like that. But I apologize for these commercials because we've been on premium since we started this podcast, and now all of a sudden we don't have premium.
Against President Biden's vaccine mandates.
We had premium since 2018. This is the first month we didn't have premium. 100
employees, and also for businesses that already have vaccine mandates in effect in the state of Texas. And this probably will be settled in a court of law, and we're going to really see some lawsuits and some challenges to this for and against the Texas governor here, and probably even from the Biden administration here going forward. And let me know your thoughts on this. Are you for this? Are you against this? And one thing's for sure, the president won't like this. This goes directly against his order. And this really goes to say here, do the state governors have authority to do this? This will be a big challenge here. The good news is right now 45 states are doing better with virus cases, but 5 states are surging. Is your state one of them? Well, here's the 5 states that are surging right now. Montana, Colorado, Minnesota, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are surging hotspot spots around the country. Dr. Fauci says around 68 million people who are eligible to be vaccinated that have not yet gotten vaccinated. New virus cases are on the decline. We did have 123,000 new cases yesterday, which is still very, very high on this data here reported by Google or aggregated by Google. But the 7-day average, as you can see here on this decline, is on a significant decline, with the 7-day average just under 90,000 at 89,526 cases as of yesterday. Deaths are still very high as well, with the 7-day average of 1,657. In comparison.
Yeah, I was finna say, my screen is freezing, but that man is sure still talking.
On an everyday basis. We're expecting major announcements from Moderna and Johnson & Johnson booster shots very, very soon. You can see from this headline here from NBC, U.S. moves closer to clearing Moderna and Johnson & Johnson booster shots this week. So they're getting close to announcing that here very, very soon.
Yeah, so they're Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. So Johnson & Johnson is supposed to be one shot.
A recent real-world study
one time and it's over.
23 million people found that vaccines cut the risk of severe
they have booster shots.
COVID by
it's
at least 90%.
Another dosage
in a real-world study by 23
for after
million
6
people.
or 7 months.
It does seem pretty promising. There is also a couple different companies that are working on a antiviral pill that after you catch the virus, which of course nobody wants to do, but you can just catch it out of nowhere basically. Merck is working on
tag said because they want to make more money. That's why you need a booster.
And they're working on FDA authorization right now for a virus pill, an antiviral pill.
To boost their pockets up.
The virus. As they say here, Merck said on Monday that it requested authorization from the FDA for its antiviral pill. They said in a statement that emergency use authorization was requested for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID in adults who are at risk for progressing to severe or hospitalization. The company said the testing showed that it is administered as a 5-day treatment and was developed
I just spent so much money, like
biotherapeutics, and reduced the risk of hospitalization by 50%.
Almost 1,000.
AstraZeneca is also developing a similar one as well, so that could be on the market sometime in the future as well. Also, let me know your thoughts on this. A parent suing a school district alleging that the son contracted the virus from a classmate. Let me know your thoughts on this. Here's the circumstances. Let me know if you think that a parent should be able to sue for this. It's hard to really tell if you caught the virus from somebody.
Let me tell you something. I went to school
in this lawsuit. Shannon Jensen
up
filed a
until the
lawsuit
10th
against
grade.
Waukesha School District.
Ain't
and
nobody
school board
could
in federal
ever sue
court
the
on
school
October
ever.
5th
The
and
kids is
seeking
all
an
bad, all of them.
injunction
Even the
ordering
good
the district
kids.
to comply with
Like, you
guidelines
can't
from the
sue
U.S.
the
Center
fucking
for
school.
Disease Control
You
and
send
Prevention.
your kids up
Jensen's
there to learn
lawsuit
shit.
alleges that in May, the school board
Is the
removed
kids doing shit,
student masking
not
requirements
the teachers.
and other
The teachers are
COVID
vaccinated.
restrictions, and claims that one of Jensen's son's classmates showed
How you
virus
gonna
symptoms but
sue
did
a
not
school?
wear a mask.
Where the hell you think your lawyer figured out how to be a lawyer from? A school.
Requirements. Okay, so check that out. Then the son was seated next to the symptomatic classmate, and despite wearing a mask himself,
Motherfuckers made
so
me
he was
work
wearing
with
a
sick
mask,
people.
he
Motherfuckers
became
made me
infected
sit
with
next
the
to sick
virus
people in my
because
lifetime. I ain't
allegedly
died.
the other
Thank
person
goodness.
had the virus, was not wearing a mask, according to the lawsuit. Later on, two of Jensen's other children also became ill with the virus. They say, quote, our goal all along was to bring a class action lawsuit against all school districts in Wisconsin that weren't protecting kids, teachers, and communities. But we
Ooh, he said teachers
Selling fiscal products
quitting and
is
getting
not the best
fired
way to
and
make
bus
money on
drivers too.
Amazon in
That's crazy.
2021. Now, yes, that model does work, but my twin brother and I, Christian, we've discovered a new
but we had to start somewhere. So let me know your
But
thoughts.
who would want to risk their life? Everybody's not built like that.
The school
Some
or
people's just looking for a
win the
pool pad
lawsuit?
job.
Do you think they should be able to win the lawsuit?
I don't
because
think
they
bus
weren't
driver is an
following
easy job though.
CDC guidelines and students were allowed to not wear a mask and potentially be able to go to school not knowing they have the virus. So that's the thing is, at the early stages of potentially being sick, you might not even know you're sick. You might not be wearing a mask. Well, if you go to school and you're not wearing a mask, I mean, you're not wearing a mask, you might not even know you're sick for the first day or two. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that's fair that you should be able to sue? You could sue for anything, but do you think they'll win? Let me know your thoughts on it. Yeah, it's a crazy situation. The thing about these lawsuits is that they set a precedence. So these are very, very big lawsuits. It's not just like one average everyday lawsuit, because if they win, this is very, very big, because now it's like, oh, you won for catching the virus. Now that sets a precedence across the whole United States that maybe potentially many, many other thousands of people could do this. The problem is proving it. Can you really prove that you caught it from a specific person or a specific situation?
No.
It is kind of hard to do that.
Unless it's reported.
The House is expected
Exactly
to vote today on the debt limit increase. Remember, the debt limit increase has been passed in the Senate, but not the House. So the Senate passed it on Thursday night. That was that very controversial vote where the first vote was passed 61 to 38, where
like
11 Republicans helped pass the vote.
Do you see when you get
kind
other
of the vote
sicknesses?
to proceed, where they bypassed the filibuster. Then the second vote passed with only Democrats voting yes. I think the vote was 50 to 48, where no Republicans voted yes on the second vote. They didn't need Republicans to vote yes on the second vote because the Republicans kind of granted them the authority to bypass the filibuster on the first vote. But then Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted them right after the 11 Republicans kind of helped them. So it passed the Senate. Now the House has to pass it, and they're expected to do that later today. I will have an update for you guys in our video later today at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the stimulus package, well, you know, the big thing they're working on right now is how to come to an agreement on the size of the package, which is somewhere in the $2 trillion range, most likely between $2 to $2.9 trillion. Kirsten Sinema, the Senate Democrat,
these are the things they're talking about
Joe Manchin.
Instead of our stimulus, though.
This is a bad thing, but Kirsten on absolutely anything. Yeah, so she has not really given us a lot of anything. But cutting $100 billion in climate would really not be a bad thing because they're going to have to cut money from a lot of different things. But Kyrsten Sinema doesn't even want to confirm that. Again, I personally would rather see $100 billion.
We don't want to know what you think personally about the
rent
climate
assistance,
bill.
assistance.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Increases and everything that was all in that third stimulus check package. But eventually they did come around, and they had the $10,200 unemployment tax break and everything in there. So Arizona Governor Doug Ducey expects Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema. Can we still call her a Democrat? Is Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, are they still Democrats? Are they dinos, Democrats in name only? To give in to far-left liberal wishes and to vote in support of congressional Democrats' proposed social spending bill. So the Arizona governor expects them to give in to vote yes on the bill, saying, quote, she's a politician, so of course she's going to cave. Wow. Governor Doug Ducey told the Washington Examiner in an interview. Wow. And listen to what Kyrsten Sinema had to say here in a statement. Quote, Kyrsten Sinema said, all right. And turned out pretty good. Continue those on in the next package for several more years, and maybe even more, maybe an adult stimulus check in there as well. And turned out pretty good.
This asshole, let me tell you something. This asshole been denying that we're gonna get any type of stimulus check.
So things are really heating up here on the next stimulus package. Do you think Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are going to cave
now
and
all
vote
of a sudden
on the next stimulus package? They did do so with the third stimulus check package, and turned out pretty good. $1,400 stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks for children, to the tune of a total of $3,600. But remember, those stop at the end of this year for 65 million children. They want to continue those on in the next package for several more years, and maybe even more, maybe an adult stimulus check in there as well. Medicare for seniors, Medicare 2.0, expansion of that, adult tax credit, all sorts of things maybe in this next package. But we're going to need Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema's vote. So do you think they're going to cave and vote yes on the next package? I'll keep you up to date here with everything here in the next video. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, we have the big vote here coming out in the House of Representatives on the debt ceiling, which they need to do to prevent the country from defaulting. So don't miss the next video at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so, and I will keep you up to date with everything in
text my phone, DJ.
You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video
334 number if you got it.
Click here to see how $1,400 stimulus checks could be included in the next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you
on Messenger. Video. Call me on Messenger. What's it called? Now he's sounding optimistic about another stimulus check package. Let me tell you, that dude was so negative this whole time. All summer, all 2021, he was like, no forced stimulus check. But again, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, supposedly Democratic Party leaders, let's reflect. June of 2020, Joe Biden, along with two other Democratic Senate members, proposed a $2,000 monthly stimulus check payment for head of household and adult taxpayer workers. You know what I mean? Lower working class income class bracket, less than 35,000.
In a recent interview, congressional progressive
you gotta believe that it's still a major issue and it's still on the table for the Democratic Party, that this is the ultimate goal.
As we all know, the initial price tag that the Democrats have been calling for was $3.5 trillion. Are the progressives finally more open to a lower price tag? President Biden is reportedly moving to cancel $4.5 billion in student loan debt, which is another step forward in canceling more student loan debt round by round. Now, the big question is who's going to get this new relief? Comment down below if you've got an outstanding student loan debt, but stay tuned to find out who's getting it. According to this report, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has vowed that his party will not help raise the debt ceiling in December after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's speech poisoned the well. It looks like the Republicans really didn't like Chuck Schumer's comments. But how will this affect the debt ceiling issue?
The House already voted to raise the debt ceiling. They also
around to the end. But first,
voted on and approved the budget
I really
for the
appreciate you
government.
guys. Hope you guys are doing very well today. And for those who are brand new to the channel,
What they
my name is
didn't vote
Ron. We
on
cover all
was
things
our stimulus.
cryptocurrencies, stock market updates, personal finance, the housing market, as well as investing, and of course, stimulus check updates and stimulus package updates. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. That way you're notified as soon as I release new videos and content. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. So first up, here's your daily update on the reconciliation bill, aka the stimulus bill, which Congress is working on right now. Democrats have been in a bind recently to get this bill through, and they're doing everything that they can to move forward. In a recent interview, Congressional Progressive Caucus leader Pramila Jayapal said that she's been pushing President Biden for a $3 trillion stimulus package. Yeah, $500 billion less than where we were. This just adds to the recent developments regarding the stimulus bill, and as we all know, the initial price tag that Democrats have been calling for was $3.5 trillion. But at this point, the chances of seeing that price tag in the final bill is kind of low. So why is Pramila Jayapal pushing for this $3 trillion deal now? Let's look into the details. It says here, Washington Representative Pramila Jayapal, the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, says she has pushed President Biden to hold the line and keep his ambitious social spending plan closer to $3 trillion instead of the $2 trillion range that he has floated to Democrats in recent days. Jayapal told the Associated Press in an interview on Thursday that she had told Biden that his suggestion for compromise was too low. And I said, I would really like to.
Let me tell you something about any plan.
Of the stimulus package for
any plan, any business will not succeed if you do not stay consistent, if you do not keep doing it over and over and over. Repetition is the key to mastery.
Lower than $3.5 trillion, which is likely why Pramila Jayapal is pushing for a $3 trillion bill. A compromise at around $2 trillion will
the more opportunity, the more success.
When you consider the top priorities,
you understand what I'm saying? So when they make these bills and packages, they need to keep in mind that the purpose is to keep the working class afloat. The head of households, the working class, the unemployed.
Guys, the Democrats weren't joking around when they said that this would be the most transformative bill in U.S. history. Some of the provisions that Democrats are pushing for include Medicare expansion, lower drug prices,
you can't stall out heads
raises,
of households and expect
college,
things
to corporate tax
families
hikes,
to be able to maintain.
Unemployment, extension on the child tax credits, and a whole bunch more.
Unemployment, y'all know, is only 1/3 or 1/3 or 1/2 of what you could really be making.
Now, the chances of seeing another round of stimulus checks are definitely not zero, especially since Democrats could always add things in at the last minute like they did last time. Of course, we'll have to wait and see about that one. All of this context regarding the stimulus bill gives us an idea of why Pramila Jayapal is pushing President Biden for a $3 trillion stimulus bill. The Democrats' plans are grand and ambitious, and so, we need a budget that actually fits that. But let's continue. It says here, the Washington State Democrat has emerged as a top negotiator in the talks on Capitol Hill, using the clout of her liberal caucus and its nearly 100 members to thwart a group of House moderates who demanded a vote last week on a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Biden tactically endorsed the Progressives caucus strategy last week, insisting that the spending package full of longtime Democratic priorities be linked to infrastructure, but he also floated trimming it back to a range between $1.9 trillion and $2.3 trillion, drawing pushback from Jayapal as well as others. Moderates also caused the scene again when the White House convened for a vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Just as moderates did the first time around in September, they insisted on voting on the infrastructure bill ahead of the stimulus bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made a quick judgment call and rescheduled the vote at a later date, which was then revealed to be at the end of October. President Biden proves that he's on the side of the progressives here by insisting on a simultaneous passage of both bills. For quite a while now, he's been more hands-on with the stimulus bill, which is actually a very good sign for the Democrats as we advance forward with this. President Biden has also been in constant talks and negotiations with the moderates to reach a compromise regarding the price tag. He did float the price range of between $1.9 trillion and $2.3 trillion, but I'm pretty sure that that range is going to change. After all, Biden can't just let the progressives, his most vocal supporters of the bill, get disappointed. It says here that Jayapal said that the conversation is ongoing and she isn't drawing any red lines in the negotiations. A White House spokesperson declared declined to comment on
They
any
are
private
working
conversations.
towards
President knows that
extending
progressives
child
are
tax
pushing for the higher
credits
amount
every
Jayapal
month
said. I
on
said
the
it directly
15th.
to him. I also said it to his top aides. And we're going to continue to figure out where we can go.
EBT
In
and
only her
SNAP
fifth year in
benefits. They're
Congress,
trying to make
Jayapal is holding her growing
broadband
caucus of liberals
discounted and
firmly
available,
together, marshaling influence that the left wing of the
and some
party
type
hasn't
of
had in
housing
years. In
assistance as
doing
well.
so, she is hoping to help Biden win passage
Whether
of his
that's
agenda,
eviction
which includes a
protection
slate
or
of social programs that Democrats have desired for decades. Not drawing
more
any red
Section
lines
8 and
basically
low-income
means not
housing
completely
city
closing one's mind to other
funding.
suggestions. And that, when you think about it, that's
That
the
might just
two-spirit
be for that
negotiations.
department. It might
Negotiations
not
tend to
even
get
be for
drawn
the
out due
people.
to numerous
We
recommendations
won't
from
know
all
until they
sides.
give
So,
us a
we really
package
can't say what is going to happen
and
exactly.
vote on it. Really quick over the commercial.
All right, guys,
Now,
if you've been injured in a car accident,
whatever it is that they decide to include in this package, again, I'm gonna keep reiterating this fact. If y'all are able to vote, please vote. If y'all are able to sign the petition, visit change.org and sign the petition for the fourth stimulus check. The purpose of a stimulus check is to put money back flowing into the economy so that taxpayers and heads of households are able to make it to their next job or pay their rent. Landlords are able to collect rent, and taxes are being able to be paid every single freaking day.
All pushing for a $3 trillion bill, despite knowing that the opposition won't
People
even
cannot
get
get a
range,
job
shows us that the progressives mean business here. They want to
if they
finish what they
don't
started,
have
and
gas
they won't
money
be
to
going
put
any
gas
lower
in
than
their
$3
car.
trillion at the risk of losing more of their
No way to
priorities.
get there.
What do you
No way
guys
to
think
wash
about this,
their
though?
clothes.
Kamala Jayapal is certainly
You
leading
just gotta
her group
think.
by pushing hard for their agenda. Will the Democrats be able to win this price tag war? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
You
Up
just
next,
gotta
here's some
think.
news
The
on the
funding
student
can't
loan debt
just be
forgiveness,
for
which I'm pretty sure a
certain
lot of you guys are going to be happy to hear
jobs.
about. President Biden is reportedly moving to cancel $4.5 billion in student loan
Certain
debt, which is
groups.
another
It
step
has to be
forward
for
in
heads of
canceling more
households.
student loan debt round by round. Now, who will get
You
this
don't
new
want
relief? Let's look into the
families
details
or
here. President Joe
people,
Biden's
period, to
administration has
lose
announced major
uh,
changes for a federal student loan forgiveness
their
program that could relieve
sustainability.
borrowers of more than $4.5 billion in debt. The overhaul also will help hundreds of thousands of Americans move closer towards seeing their student loan balances wiped clean, the U.S. Department of Education says. That sounds like very good news to me. Now, that would give them more financial room to save, invest, or get a handle on other debts. Comment down below if you could use a hand, especially in the middle of this pandemic. But this is great news for all the student loan borrowers out there. President Biden is once again back with a new round of debt cancellation, which will be expected to help hundreds of thousands of Americans. By enacting recent changes to the program, people struggling to pay their loans will have one less problem to worry about, and they'll even be able to keep more of their hard-earned money to be able to save a little bit more for other stuff. However, who is qualified for this? It says here teachers, nurses, first responders, service members, and so many public service workers have had our back, especially amid the challenges of the pandemic. This comes according to Education Secretary Miguel Cardona, and he said today the Biden administration is showing that we have their backs too. Thanks to changes announced by Cardona's department this week, 22,000 borrowers are now eligible for $1.74 billion in immediate student loan cancellation. Another 27,000 will see $2.82 billion in loans erased if workers' length of employment in government service checks out. Seems like borrowers working on the front lines of the pandemic are the beneficiaries of this new round of debt forgiveness. The pandemic has indeed affected all of us and, forced us to stay in our homes, leaving most of us struggling just to get by. On top of that, the frontliners are the people who have braved this pandemic and kept necessary services afloat. Around 22,000 people qualify for this, and I bet that they're very happy to get their debt canceled. More people will be eligible for this as time goes on, as President Biden's plan is to help every borrower, not just a select few. It says here, when you include the new immediate cancellation, the administration says so far this year, it has forgiven more than $11.5 billion in student loans. That may sound like a lot, but it's puny next to the total U.S. student loan debt of $1.7 trillion owed by over 45 million people across the country. During the campaign and earlier this year, President Biden expressed interest in canceling $10,000 in federal student loans for every borrower. Democrats in Congress about that. More importantly, talks of cancellation of $50,000 per person have been started by President Biden. This round, is this fair to have some people have their student loan debts forgiven? If hundreds of thousands, many ups and downs recently. Now, according to this report, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has vowed that his party will not help raise the debt ceiling in December after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's speech poisoned the well. Now, it looks like Republicans didn't really like Chuck Schumer's comments. This could cause quite a significant domino effect down the line. But what else did the Republican leaders say about this one? Let's look into it. It says here, last night, Republicans filled the leadership vacuum that has troubled the Senate since January. I write to inform you that I will not provide such assistance again if all your Democrat government drifts into another avoidable crisis. This is what Mitch McConnell wrote in a letter to President Biden. The letter comes after 11 Republicans helped advance a short-term debt ceiling extension Thursday night after a weeks-long standoff where McConnell and his conference said that Democrats would have to raise the debt ceiling on their own for a budget process known as reconciliation. But on Wednesday, Mitch McConnell backtracked, offering to let Democrats pass a short-term extension that is expected to last into early December. This is just another chapter in the book of Democrats versus Republicans, really. Who was surprised that Chuck Schumer finally let loose and went after Republicans? We have to keep in mind that this whole debt ceiling issue is an avoidable crisis, and the problem here isn't just because of the Democrats. Now, I'm looking at this from a very neutral point of view. Now, if you guys didn't know, this has typically been a bipartisan affair. Both parties usually work together to take action on this one. However, the case now has the Republicans blaming the Democrats for the situation. Fortunately, Mitch McConnell finally cooperated, but things aren't looking good for the next part of the debt ceiling issue coming up in December. But let's see what Chuck Schumer actually said about this one.
Solving this Republican manufactured crisis. Despite immense opposition from Leader McConnell and members of his conference, our caucus held together and we pulled our country back from the cliff's edge that Republicans tried to push us over. This is a temporary but necessary and important fix. I appreciate that at the end of the day, we were able to raise the debt limit without a convoluted and unnecessary reconciliation process that until today, the Republican leader claimed was the only way to address the debt limit. Let me say that again. Today's vote is proof positive that the debt limit can be addressed without going through the reconciliation process.
Republicans were further frustrated on Thursday night by Schumer, who railed against them right after 11 of them voted to advance the debt ceiling bill. Schumer blasted the GOP debt ceiling strategy, accusing them of playing a dangerous and risky partisan game, and saying that
did you know as of April 2021, real estate has outperformed the S&P 500 in...
Hold on.
saying that Democrats were able to pull our country back off the cliff's edge that Republicans try to push us over. Many Republicans definitely took offense to what Chuck Schumer said, and I can't blame them. Now, on the other hand, I can't blame Chuck Schumer either. Looking at this from a neutral point of view, we can see that both parties are at one of the highest points of tension in ever. Although Chuck Schumer kind of blamed the Republicans with his speech there, the main takeaway from what he said is that Congress can fix the debt ceiling issue through a bipartisan process. But let's see what Mitch McConnell said about this. Last night, in a bizarre spectacle, Senator Schumer exploded in a rant that was so partisan, angry, and corrosive that even Democratic senators were visibly embarrassed by him and for him. This tantrum encapsulated and escalated a pattern of angry incompetence from Senator Schumer, according to McConnell. McConnell warned that Schumer's childish behavior and alienated GOP senators who helped advance the short-term debt increase and poisoned the well even further. They are likely the same GOP senators Schumer would need to lean on to raise the debt ceiling outside of reconciliation later this year. It seems like the division between the two groups have only increased due to Chuck Schumer's speech. Mitch McConnell's definitely got his point across here. Democrats have to keep in mind that they need Republicans to be able to work with them. So why did Chuck Schumer say those things? That's the point that Mitch McConnell is making. And that's a tough loss for the Democrats. It's already hard enough to get the Republicans to work with them. So I wonder how they're going to approach this debt ceiling issue again when the time comes.
All right, look. I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I am going to say this. The government don't have to worry about when their next check coming. We do. Don't let them keep fucking up these stimulus packages that we're supposed to be getting as if they're not going to make it back in sales tax over the next 10 to 20 years. Not to mention the state and federal that comes out of every American's pay stub. Really quick before we go, I want to say a couple things. We're going to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube, but y'all make sure you check out our film, The West Coast and Amerikkkan Dream on Amazon Prime Video. Follow my best friend and his podcast called My Take on the Matter on Facebook. Follow Nick Snacks and Crafts on Facebook, where she makes and creates custom embroideries, storage boxes, and novelty items such as rolling trays, ashtrays, and storage containers, grinders, things like that. Y'all know you can visit change.org to vote on the fourth stimulus check in the amount of $2,000, as well as the Justice for the Say Their Names hashtags. Justice for George Floyd, Justice for Ahmaud Arbery, Justice for Breonna Taylor, Justice for Vanessa Gillen, Justice for Elijah McClain, Ma'Khia Bryant, and Adam Toledo. Y'all make sure you follow my partners at Dope Era Magazine on Instagram, as well as Facebook and Twitter at Dope Era Mag on Twitter. Couple things I want y'all to remember. You can also vote at vote.org. Community programs, public housing, public education, public transportation, so many things. Business licensing, free healthcare clinics, homeless shelters, social distancing, quarantine pandemic conditions. Politicians running for office and propositions being written into bills and laws. Y'all can research all of that stuff in your city and state. If you are able to vote, please do so. What else? What else? What else? Well, if you're low on funds or low on health insurance, visit mdsave.com, as in Dr. MD, and save you some money. mdsave.com for underground online coupons and vouchers for medical and hospital needs and procedures. Y'all make sure you try to get those discounts if you are struggling with being able to afford major health things. Make sure you follow us, y'all. We're going to get up out of here. I love y'all. You're beautiful. Your soul is beautiful. Your energy is positive. You're important to me, your community, your family, and your friends, and I love y'all. Thank you for making me a top streamer and making my numbers run way up. And thank y'all for my money as well. We are banned off of Tagged main page, of course. And still partially banned on Facebook and Instagram. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be back opened up for general broadcasting and promotions. But for right now, y'all, thank y'all for being part of the stream and keeping this money rolling in. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for social distancing and caring about your community. All of that, all of that, all of that. Make sure you follow on YouTube. Check our playlists out. All of my partners and your partners that make music, cross-promote each other and popular songs and events, as well as the description and our recently playlist for all the videos that we watch and listen to here on the Cherry Franklin Show. So thank y'all for being here. We're going to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube.